Simon Told Helen wins a half length. Zach Manelli second.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip.
Peaky Blinders start cheering for Tommy Shelby wins the WA Sprint Championship final.
Featuring Peter O'Neill and Leah Ernest.
Mozza moves up to Mermaid Manelli. Fab's Gem 3 deep. Here comes Fab's Gem.
Hard Style Rico by 5 lengths to Simon Told Helen. Third Tommy Shelby.
This segment is dedicated to the discussion and promotion of greyhound racing.
Cindy's Oliver, Rockstar Patriot, Paul Stewart, back-to-back with Rockstar Patriot in the Galaxy.
Handsome Prince, a bolder clear. The former Tasmanian Handsome Prince has won the $1 million chase.
And a very good morning, everyone. Tuned into Greyhound Gossip, and a very good morning to you, Peter O'Neill, all the way in the Melbourne airport.
I am. I'm at the airport later on the way back to Perth, and what a wonderful weekend it's been for greyhound racing and for WA greyhound racing, of course, with Saige Tenniele taking up the national sprint final. I'm at the airport, so apologies if there's any announcements while we're here, but we're promoting greyhound racing, and this weekend has been a massive promotion for greyhound racing here in Victoria.
And would you say, Pete, the Nationals is probably the biggest race that brings together everyone around the country?
Well, it's certainly not the richest race, but it brings people from all around Australia and New Zealand, of course, that come across for the symposium on Thursday. And then there's further meetings for management and those that are in administration from not only in Australia but also on the East Coast. And as I mentioned, while it's not the richest race, we have races like the $1 Million Chase, also the Phoenix and the Melbourne Cup, the Golden Easter Egg, which are great races around the country, and now the Brisbane Cup that has $1 million stake earnings. The stake money on offer is good for the Nationals. It's not the richest race, as I mentioned, but it is the race that all of the trainers and the participants in the country wish to win because of the fact that there's that win for your state, and we saw that prominent on the calendar there on Saturday night with Kody Charles.
And yes, we also had the distance, the distance final, where we saw Ballistic Ant represent WA, and we've got a recorded description of that race.
Lead from Fast Minardi, and they've got 4 lengths on Zipping Vanessa early. Zipping Neutrons there. On the rail was Palawa King. Then came Days of Thunder. Further back then to Wapawa Louise. And last of all was Zohar Bale with it all to do. They run to the back. The leader was Ballistic Ant. Up behind them, Palawa King clipped heels. Fast Minardi moving into it. Now into the clear. Days of Thunder running on. Zohar Bale zooms up large, but Fast Minardi's got a break on the swing. After it was Palawa King. The leader was Fast Minardi. Palawa King over the top. Palawa King wins the final. Second, Fast Minardi. Third,
all right, and the win there went to Palawa King, but Ballistic Ant first out of the boxes and led for the first half. Pete, you were on track. What was that like, seeing the WA representative first out of the boxes?
Well, we roared. We're up on the grandstand, and we really roared when we saw her get across from the wide draw. She was at big odds, obviously, but she led for a lap, and then she got taken on down the back straight, and unfortunately the class of the New South Wales and Victorian greyhounds went past her. Palawa King was outstanding, but it was a great honour for the Credellis. Graham Credelli and his wife were over there on Saturday night, and they really enjoyed it, and they were tickled pink to be able to represent Western Australia. Of course, the Credellis have that strong football background behind them, and the West Australia versus Victoria, but it was West Australia versus the rest of the country and New Zealand, and Ballistic Ant was very, very good for a long period of time in that race, and she'll come back and obviously get back into her grade, which will suit her. But it was a really, really good run there by Ballistic Ant there on Saturday night.
It was your first time as well watching a straight track race, Pete. What was that like, and did James end up getting you up in the caller's box to call a race?
I didn't call a race. I was up there for 3 or 4 races, but after I saw it's an interesting. So it's a beautiful trip out to Healesville. First of all, it's about an hour and a half outside of Melbourne. Beautiful countryside through the wineries and so forth, and you've got the hills around the track. So there's a little bit of fog early. It was actually a nice day. I took my beanie, but didn't need to wear it. So the straight of 350 metres is a long way away from you. There's an actual gum tree in the middle of the course, right next door to the track, so you need 2 cameras to actually see it. You're high enough to be able to get past the gum tree in the commentary box, but they run straight at you, and it's not until probably the last 50 to 75 metres that you can actually, or I could decipher who was actually in front. James does a wonderful job, James Vandermart. So yeah, I didn't put my hand up to call any of the races, but we saw a sprinting star, and we also saw Crumble Tenniele that was over there and did very well ran 4th or 5th in his race. He was on debut. He trialled prior. He's come across for the Hillsville Cup in a few weeks, but it was all about the Jason Thompson trained Unleashed Kalinda. Let's go back to the replay of the National Straight Course final on Saturday at Hillsville.
Kalinda only fair to go. Maybe yesterday speared the start. Straight across to grab the lead and race the length in front to Shall Not Unleash Kalinda. And then Oscar Moses, cash on delivery from Bye Bye Ray to Valhalla. And Oscar Moses at the end. So it's maybe yesterday grabbed by Unleash Kalinda. The King stormed to the front and he won it big time. Unleash Kalinda by 1 length maybe yesterday. The Vicks dominate.
Yeah, brilliant win by Unleashed Kalinda. He's an absolute star, and he was well received. And there was a good crowd out there, of course, a lot of people coming from around Australia to go out to Hillsville there on Saturday morning. So just before we go to Kody Charles, who'll be coming up shortly, the symposium that covered on a lot of important facts. The ABC, there's reports that the ABC Four Corners show will be doing another piece in the coming weeks and months ahead to try and get on the anti-side and try and put a bad slant on greyhound racing. So that was a worrying concern. The industry discussed that on Thursday, and they also discussed a very important point in regards to the welfare of greyhounds, and that's the rehoming and what the whole country and New Zealand can do to try and expedite the greyhounds and the delay in trying to get greyhounds from retirement onto the Greyhounds as Pets program. So all of the management teams and the industry came together to discuss that, which was really important. And then on Thursday night we had the Friday night we had the Greyhound of the Year function, and Wow She's Fast was crowned the Greyhound of the Year. That was well received, and also well received was the fact that there were 3 gentlemen that have been associated in greyhound racing for a long time from Victoria that were all inducted into the Greyhound Hall of Fame. And that is Jeff Smokey Dawson. He was the chairman of Sandown for a long period of time. He's not in the best of health at the moment, Smokey, but he's been a great ambassador for greyhound racing. And then a friend of ours, Eddie Caruana, who was the chairman of the Meadows for such a long period of time. He's a gentleman, and he had all his family there to welcome him into the Hall of Fame, and it was a shock for him. And then Neil Brown, who was up on stage, and he actually welcomed Jeff Dawson and Eddie Caruana into the Hall of Fame. He was shocked because he didn't realise that his family were waiting outside, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame as well. And Jeff, Eddie and Neil, they've been great ambassadors, great promoters for greyhound racing right the way around Australia. And they were inducted and well received there on Friday night. And Angela Langton and Jeff Britton took out the Leading Trainer of the Year award, and probably the most welcoming and the celebrity of the whole night was Fernando Bale, so the champion sire, of course the sire of Tommy Shelby, and he's in the Hall of Fame already, Fernando Bale, and he actually came to the Hall of Fame function there on Friday night, and he got up on stage and he got a standing ovation, so that was great to see. But it was Saturday night. It was state versus state, Australia versus New Zealand. Western Australia took on the world, and this was the national sprint final.
And away, Postman Pat jumped okay. Great speed out from Aussie Rocks, is going to get across. Aussie Rocks leads into the first turn. Postman Pat second. Saige Tenniele's up to third. Tinker Norman is closing in strongly. Next in the field was Bears Bullet, clear of Raver's Army, Raiders Guide, and last of all was Modern Swinger. They bunch off the back. It's Aussie Rocks in front. Postman Pat, Tinker Norm's looming large. Around the turn, Tinker Norm's run to the lead. Tinker Norm running on Saige Tenniele. Saige Tenniele! Saige Tenniele's won the final, beats Aussie Rocks, third home.
And a man that will still be on cloud 9 after a thrilling weekend is trainer Kody Charles, and he joins us on Greyhound Gossip this morning. Kody, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Leah and Pete. I certainly won't get sick of listening to that replay anytime soon, that's for sure.
Have you responded to all 4,000 messages yet?
No, I have not. It's been a crazy 36 hours, we just soaked up the moment on the night and presentation, and then we had 3 different swabs to do, and by the time that was done it was after the last, and then I had to jump in the car and drive about an hour and 20 minutes back to the Thompsons' place, and pretty much grabbed dinner on the way home actually, and ate that late, and back up in the morning and let the dogs out, and then we're off to the airport and drop the hire car off and fuel it up and jump on the plane, and then come back to reality. I see Pete still living it up in Melbourne, but for me, the battlers, we've got to go home and work.
Well, he's actually at the airport at the moment, so he won't be living it up for very much longer. Kody, you said on Twitter that this was an experience that you can't buy, and that's the thing with racing, isn't it? This could happen to anybody. Have you wrapped your head around the fact that this has happened to you, and are you still in shock?
Yeah, it's. I suppose it's so unbelievable. Just, I guess, full credit to the dog of the journey that we've come through, with her, just from where she started to where she is now, and it's been such a rapid rise to fame with her, I suppose. It's only been really the last 6 or 7 weeks where she's really just stepped up to the mark, and every challenge thrown at her, she's just taken it on board. It really is unbelievable, and just the support that I've had, like, leading up to that race, and the amount of messages, it would have to be 200 plus, from people you don't hear of, people you don't even know have messaged, and it's just been an incredible feeling.
Kody, congratulations. I'm a very proud West Australian. Sharon and I loved it there on Saturday night. We were having a really good time, but it went to another level when we saw Saige Tenniele sit so close. Tell us about what you thought when she jumped so quickly and was able to position right behind the leaders.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. It was so good to have you there. Obviously, being in another state, all the WA people sort of like grouped together, and the roar that I could hear when she come from the WA people, it was like having my own family there. We all just got together and bonded so well, and got the picture taken and that, and it was awesome. But back to the race, she just drew so good. Everything went so well, and she just settled in so well at the Thompsons. And massive thank you to the Thompsons for letting me stay there. And that's probably half the key to her success, just going over there in such a beautiful kennel environment. They just took me in as their family, and we just stuck to our regime that we did over here, and tried to fit in the best we could over there. And when the box draw came out in box 2, it was just the perfect box, and I just had the slightest concern that we just need to dodge the one dog if it uses a bit of the track. And when she actually jumped in front of it, over here she'd been sort of jumping, in the back 3. She lobbed 3rd, and I couldn't believe how close she was actually, and I thought, she's a serious chance, and they were bunching up down the back, and I had a little bit of concern there that what's she going to do? Is she going to check off heels? But thankfully she just smoked the pipe and just waited. There was a little bit of a scrimmage which just left a little gap, and she took the gap and peeled off the heels of them, and she's becoming a real race dog now, to be able to sort of go around dogs and just get the momentum going, and it was just a terrific run, and it left me speechless, that's for sure.
Well, I was standing next to RAWA CEO Ian Edwards, and there was a whole WA contingent, and while we might have been small, we were very loud, and I don't like going the early crow, but I said to Ian, when she went past us the first time, I said, she's in this with a real chance. And then when she came to the outside on the corner, it was just game over. And yeah, we did erupt. You might have heard Sharon. She lost her voice that night, but it was just so exciting to be West Australian. And the opposition behind the boxes, I love that when you have the video behind and the cameras behind the boxes, that every other handler goes straight over to you and shakes your hand. And it's just great sportsmanship, isn't it?
Yeah, and firstly, Pete, I'm unsure if Sharon lost her voice that night, or it may have been the night before when she got stuck into the karaoke. So maybe we might be able to get some footage of that and get that played on racing radio, and I'm sure that'll make
She's
Sharon's
a good singer,
morning,
isn't she?
I'm yet to hear it yet, so I reckon we've got to put that on racing radio, and then we can judge that ourselves. But yeah, that was super, and it was so good. I was just so glad that obviously I stayed at the Thompsons, so it meant so much to me, and I've always looked up to the Thompsons, and Luke was the first one there, and big hug, shook my hand, and that was special for me, and everyone else come up. It was just great sportsmanship from everyone. It was unreal feeling, and yeah, it was emotional, and you just can't buy that, I wish I could have grabbed that, stuck it in the jar, and kept it, because you just can't get that feeling anywhere else.
And the excitement also to have Brittany and also your 2 children there straight afterwards, and for them to still be awake at that time of night and to be able to enjoy that experience was outstanding.
Absolutely. It was amazing to have Brittany there. She'd obviously kept the ship going back home, along with many other people, my parents and kennel staff and stuff, to keep things going. So Brittany came over on the Thursday night, which was awesome. She was able to enjoy the gala with us on the Friday night, which was brilliantly put on by Greyhounds Australasia and David Simonetti, Corey Smith and the likes. That was a really good night, and to have them there on race night with us was extra special. Unfortunately, we didn't have Kobe with us, the eldest one. But he got me for a few Roebucks to save him coming over, so that was the cheaper option we took there. But, it was great. And I just want to say, I think it was really special that, I think I said on one of the shows once before that when I was a kid, I wrote a letter to the Greyhounds, and the person that got back to me was David Simonetti, and invited my family there, and we went to the restaurant. He gave me some memorabilia. He gave me the Jamali Park sculpture of, Greyhound of the Month, and gave me a video. I think it was called Training Winners. And all that, and to now think 25 years on since I probably wrote that letter, to be winning that Group 1 there at the Meadows and have David Simonetti up there with me, I thought that was pretty special.
That is special, Kody, and the fact that you've been involved in the industry for quite some time and you've just had a huge win in the Nationals, a Group 1 winner. So what are your plans now with Saige Tenniele? Where to from here?
So we got back yesterday. She's going to have just an easy week, just let her settle back into things here, and it's a big thing to go over there on the plane and all the rest of it. And she come back yesterday, straight after the race. We're pretty much on the border at 10 o'clock yesterday morning in Melbourne. So just come back, have an easy week, just regroup, settle everything down a little bit. And if all goes well, I suppose the top 4 can pass the post in that final the other day, automatic qualifiers to the semi-final of the $1 Million Chase. So that is probably high up on the radar at this point. And I'd say if that didn't go to plan, then possibly look at the Adelaide Cup, but that clashes with the $1 Million Chase. So a couple of things to think about, but we'll just let us settle back in. And I suppose you only ever get one crack, don't you? So at this point, it might be the $1 Million Chase semi-finals.
Well, it's so exciting, Kody, to think that, you were on cloud 9 after winning the heats here in WA, and then you're heading over there and you've won the final. It's all happening so quick, so you probably need some time to process what's happening, and what your plans are for the future. And the fact that she's going to be travelling over east again, are you concerned at all with her travelling? Did she travel okay heading over to Melbourne?
She travelled amazing. It really, really surprised me, and that probably showed by going to the Meadows and coming out and trialling that 29.88. She travelled there on the Thursday. She was only there for, 48 hours, and then moved straight to the Meadows and handled it beautiful, handled the track well. The good thing about it is that she handles the tracks because she's a railer, so that's a massive play for her, which certainly has worked well for her lately, and hopes she can continue that. But yeah, I have no problem really travelling with her now after what I've seen over there. Settled in beautiful. When Brittany seen her, she was absolutely jumping out of her skin. So on the Thursday, so yeah, no harm's taken by the travel.
And just goes to show the quality of the WA dogs. We had Elite Machine win the Brisbane Cup earlier in the year, and the WA dogs have now won 3 of the last 4 national sprint finals. So I'd be travelling with her, and the fact that you go to the semi-finals of the $1 Million Chase, and then you've got the Melbourne Cup and also the Phoenix just around the corner. She's got a big following, and while she might be diminutive, I'm sure that there'll be people knocking on your door or phoning you to see whether or not you'll run for them in their slot. Just back on her, and we've spoken about the fact that she was put on Greyhound data. She wasn't going to come back to WA after she didn't break in well, and we know that story. But her first 3 or 4 starts, Kody, remind us of those, because she was long odds. I've had a look at the records. She was long odds at 3 or 4 of her first few starts at Cannington before she ended up winning at Mandurah. Yeah, correct. It seems like, like you say, that story, and someone actually found that ad on Greyhound data and actually sent it to me. I'll have to send it to you after the show, but that gave me a little bit of a tickle, and I'm just thankful that no one responded to that ad. I think it was 22nd of June 2022 that ad was posted, that if someone wanted to give her a go, they were welcome to take her. So 12 months on, she's now a Group 1 winner. So, but sorry, I just lost my thought there, Pete, with what finished. I'll read that ad while you're back to the start. Yeah, she the 3 starts early on. Yeah, she was a dog that always wanted to show that she wanted the fence. I think she drew wide in her first few starts, but I reckon she qualified at Mandurah over 4:05 in about 23:70. And I think her first 3 starts she was beaten probably a total margin of about 40 lengths. Then we went to Mandurah and went over to 490, and she won that. But yeah, I think her first 17 to 20 starts she would have won 2 to 3 times. But I think she's got a real future too when she steps up in distance. She's probably ready for that now, but with what's ahead, we probably have to just stay at the 500 for now and see how we get there. But there's a race over. It's still a long way away, and we can dream about it. But
she's probably an ideal candidate for something like the Hume Cup at the Meadows, which is a 600-metre event. I think that's in November.
Yeah, that ad that I was sent that on Saturday night, it says, this was on the 24th of June 2022, not Abstract Miss but a pup, Bernardo Abstract Miss whelped 10th of the 4th, 21, Blue Bitch. I live in WA, so it's basically sent to breakers straight from paddock. Isn't chasing 100% solo, but is following other dogs. As I said, I'm in WA and not wanting to fly her home. If someone wants to give her a go, you're more than welcome. Give away, well-bred, young pup, plenty of upside, located in Richmond, New South Wales. You're lucky, and we're lucky as well, that no one gave you a call.
Yeah, absolutely. It gave me a laugh reading that ad. But, yeah, I never read or anything, so I'd never even seen the dog in my life. So just, never take someone's word for it. Just give them a go, get the flight home, and you just never know what's around the corner. But, very thankful no one took her. And as you said before about the Nationals for WA, it's been a great race for WA, and it's something that I'm very proud of, just to represent the state. I'm obviously very proud to be Australian and very proud to live here in WA. It's a great state, and to go over there and salute and bring that trophy back to WA was super special and something that I'll never forget.
Yeah, I got a shout out from Peter Duncan, the chair of Greyhound Racing Victoria, at that function on Friday night, and you know how much I pump up WA and try and get the rivalry between the states. But it was great, isn't it? And to be able to win our third from our last 4 years of the National Sprint is just something I never ever thought that I would ever see. You go back to Mr. Toe White, and then of course Sandy's my mum, who won the Nationals twice, and Prince of Tigers, but that was a long time ago, and probably before you even started following greyhound racing, Kody, and now we've won 3 of the last 4, so it's remarkable. And the other remarkable thing is, I can now say when I get back to Cannington that Kody Charles, Group 1 winning trainer. Well done.
Thanks, Pete. That'd be nice to hear that. It's probably something that you just dream of as a kid, so it actually now become reality's super special. And on those winners that you said that have actually won the National Sprint, I was actually looking through them, and the names of them dogs are basically like nearly Hall of Famer dogs. So it's an incredible race. So many good dogs have won the race. So that really made it even extra special yesterday, reading the calibre of dogs that actually have won this race.
Yeah, we started off at the show, Leah and I, mentioning that it's not the richest stake money, of course, but just the prestige of actually being able to win the race for your state is remarkable, and it is the who's who that have won the national sprints over the years, including Rapid Journey back in 1998, who came to Western Australia and won and beat our champion Regimite. I remember that when I first started. And next year we go to South Australia, and hopefully you might have another dog or maybe a Saige Tenniele that can represent Western Australia again next year. Enjoy whatever today brings for you, Kody, and also the coming weeks and months ahead. I know you've got an exciting time with Saige Tenniele, whether you stay in Western Australia or fly across and fly the WA flag again in the $1 Million Chase, the Melbourne Cup, Adelaide Cup, or even the Phoenix. We wish you all the best of luck, and all of WA and the greyhound industry are very proud of you, Brittany, Saige Tenniele, and your family, and we congratulate you and wish you all the best of luck.
Beautiful words, Pete. Thank you very much, mate. You're a great man for the sport, as is Leah, a great woman for the sport. So the industry's been sensational, and it just makes it extra special. So, just super proud to get the job done.
Good on you. Kody Charles joining us on Greyhound Gossip. And yes, Western Australia will be certainly on cloud 9, Leah, for the next few weeks as we celebrate that great victory there on Saturday night. And all of the eastern states, they follow greyhound racing in the Western Australia very prominently because of the time that we come into. So we're going well in WA, and today we go up to Northern with the girls versus guys final at Avon Valley.
And you won't be calling all the action, of course, Pete, because you will be on a plane. But the first of 12 comes up at 1:24, and we'll head across for a preview 15 minutes prior. And the first at 1:24, as mentioned. Pete, thank you very much for your company. Have a safe flight to you and Sharon, and we will be back next Monday for Greyhound Gossip.
Thanks, Leah. Look forward to talking to you then.